It was a quiet, desolate town where nothing ever seemed to change. Hidden deep in the mountains, Segway Grove had become the kind of place where strangers were met with suspicious stares and secrets were buried deep. But one night, something was unearthed that should have remained hidden. Elena, a college student, had returned to the town to visit her aging grandmother. They hadn't spoken much over the years, but after receiving a cryptic letter claiming she was in danger, Elena couldn't ignore it. The letter simply read, "He is watching me. He never sleeps. Come quickly." Elena arrived at her grandmother's old, creaky house late in the evening, the air thick with fog that clung to the trees. The place was in worse shape than she remembered. Overgrown weeds snaked up to the sides, and the windows were blacked out with heavy drapes. When she knocked, her grandmother didn't answer, but the door slowly creaked open as if inviting her inside. The air smelled of mildew and decay, and the once cozy home was now eerily silent. She called out, but no response came. As she stepped further inside, she noticed odd things. A stack of untouched meals on the dining table, a trail of muddy footprints leading upstairs. Her grandmother's room was at the end of the hall, the door slightly ajar. "Grandma?" she whispered, pushing the door open. The room was dim, lit only by a flickering candle on the windowsill. Her grandmother sat in a rocking chair, staring out of the window. Her frail figure was bathed in shadow, and for a moment, Elena thought she might be sleeping. But as she got closer, she noticed the old woman's eyes were wide open, unblinking. Her lips parted as though frozen in mid-sentence. "Grandma?" Elena approached cautiously, her voice trembling. Her grandmother didn't move, but then, in a low, rasping voice, she whispered, "He is watching us, Elena." Elena froze, her heart pounding in her chest. "Who is watching us?" she asked, but her grandmother remained still, her eyes locked on the darkness outside the window. Suddenly, there was a loud thud from upstairs, like something heavy being dropped. Elena's blood ran cold. She glanced back at her grandmother, who slowly raised a trembling hand and pointed towards the attic door. "Don't go up there," she wheezed. "He is waiting." Elena's instinct screamed for her to leave, but something compelled her to know what was happening. Against her better judgment, she grabbed a flashlight from the nightstand and made her way toward the attic stairs. The air grew colder with each step, and the wood creaked ominously beneath her feet. At the top of the stairs, she stood before the attic door. The silence was suffocating. Her fingers shook as she reached for the doorknob, the metal freezing against her skin. Slowly, she pushed the door open. The attic was pitch black, save for the faint beam of her flashlight cutting through the gloom. The smell of damp wood and something foul lingered in the air. She swept the light across the room, and then it landed on something that made her heart stop. In the far corner, crouched in the shadows, was a figure. Its face was obscured, but she could see the gleam of two wide, glowing eyes watching her intently. Elena's breath caught in her throat. "Who are you?" she demanded, her voice shaking. The figure didn't move. It remained crouched in the dark, its glowing eyes locked onto hers, and then, in a voice that was neither human nor animal, it whispered, "I see you." She stumbled back, the flashlight flickering. The figure rose, its limbs unnaturally long and twisted, moving towards her with a sickening slowness. Panic surged through Elena as she bolted down the stairs, her heart hammering in her chest. As she reached the bottom, her grandmother's voice echoed from the bedroom. "He knows you're here. You shouldn't have come." Elena rushed to her grandmother, shaking her frantically. "What is happening? Who is that?" But the old woman didn't answer. Her eyes had rolled back and she was muttering something under her breath, over and over. "He is never alone. He is never alone. He is never alone." Suddenly, the door to the house slammed shut with a deafening bang. The lights flickered and the air grew colder, heavy with the stench of rot. Elena's pulse quickened as she backed away, her eyes darting around the room. She could feel it. Something was in the house with them. Then a low, guttural voice filled the room, echoing off the walls. "You were warned, and now you will join her." Elena turned towards the door, but it was too late. The figure was there, standing in the entryway, its twisted form silhouetted against the flickering lights. Its eyes bored into hers, and she felt an overwhelming sense of dread wash over her. There was no escape. The last thing she heard before the world went dark was her grandmother's voice whispering one final warning. "He never leaves. He will watch you forever." When the neighbors found the house the next morning, Elena was gone. The only sign that she had ever been there was her grandmother, still sitting in a rocking chair, staring out of the window with wide, vacant eyes. And in the corner of the attic, where no one dared to look, the watcher waited, his glowing eyes unblinking, watching forever. If you like these type of stories, then you're in luck. There's a lot more on my channel, so consider subscribing. Anyways, thank you so much for watching. I love you all, and I will see you the next time. Goodbye.